Hello again everyone, Flock of Turtles here, and welcome back to another Elden Ring video. Call me Paula Dean, minus the racism, because I've whipped up something extra tasty for you all that's gonna clog the shit out of your arteries. I've been playing Elden Ring a lot, but I've been getting a little bored of it to be honest, so I decided to give Elden Ring's Convergence Mod a try. If you haven't seen any videos or played the mod yourself, the Convergence Mod overhauls the game almost entirely and it reimagines your experience in the lands between. There are dozens of new weapons, hundreds of new spells, updated areas, new bosses, the list just goes on and on. I'll leave a link in the description to a Google Doc made by the Convergence Mod team that goes through all the changes that were made as of the time of this video. If you like what you see in this video, feel free to like the video and even subscribe to the channel, as both of those really help a brother out. I'm definitely doing more runs of this mod in the future, so if you want to see me do a specific class, let me know in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. The first thing you'll notice that's different is the amount of options you'll have for starting classes. Not only is there a ton to choose from, but each class has a bigger focus on specific stat spreads and damage types compared to vanilla Elden Ring. Now for my first playthrough, I opted to choose the Underworld Mage. This dude is all about lightning damage and utilizes the Dragonkin school of spells. After I spent way too long creating a character whose face is about to be covered up for the entirety of the run, I discovered that you're given the whetstone knife and the physic flask right at the start. It's actually pretty cool. Another nice addition is that all of the armor in the game gives you some type of static buff. My starting armor set boosts dexterity and intelligence by 5 each. Each piece also reduces FP cost for spells. The weapons, staves, and seals function a bit differently as well. I didn't really know how to explain it properly because I typically have about 37 working brain cells left after a work week, but all of that information will be left in the Google Doc in the description. Obviously, this isn't the normal starting point, so what gives? Well, each class has their own path to follow, and each of the locations mentioned will have a different spell rune that unlocks a new set of spells. That means I have to defeat the Dragonkin soldiers in Lower Siofra, Noxtella, and the Lake of Rot, and I also have to go into the Fringe Folk Hero's Grave and beat the ulcerated tree spirit inside. There's also a note about an improved armor set, but I won't get access to that until I get to Ordina and the Consecrated Snowfield. Now, before I made my way to the first Dragonkin soldier, I wanted to explore the world a little bit and test out my early spells and my weapon. The stagger potential of this class seemed very nuts in the beginning, and at some point, I got my hands on an enchanted remnant. Remnants are what allow you to craft talisman and physic tiers in Convergence. You don't have to worry about running to specific locations for that stuff anymore. I didn't really know what to get, so I just opted for the Dragoncrest Great Shield talisman. After adventuring around for a bit, I decided to try my hand at fighting one of the many Erdtree sentries that have been newly added as part of the mod. But it seems like this young grasshopper still has much to learn because I got absolutely destroyed. I went a little out of order and I visited the Fringe Folk Hero's Grave first, and I've gotta say, I like what they've done to the place. A little bit of redecoration goes a long way. I finally made it to the boss room after about 9,000 years and several deaths at the hand of my mortal enemy, the Burger King chicken sandwich. I don't really know how this fight would go because I haven't fought an ulcerated tree spirit since my second playthrough of Elden Ring, and I haven't fought this guy in particular since my very first playthrough, and that is well over a year and a half ago at this point. Damn, who would have thought that standing next to a fiery explosion would kill me? Yeah, well, clearly I didn't learn my lesson after the first time. Eventually I got around to beating him, and I earned a few knickknacks for my troubles. So not only can we now check the Fringe Folk Hero's Grave off the list, I now have access to quite a few new spells that have some pretty sick names, so logically speaking, they must all be sick. And when I said I was going out of order, I didn't realize that at the time I was setting myself up for disappointment. I can't use any of this shit yet. My brain just ain't big enough for it. So, the only logical thing for me to do is to actually follow the path the way it was intended and challenge the first of the Dragonkin soldiers on my hit list. Funnily enough, I don't remember if I've ever even fought this guy in the base game because I can never find his arena. I will shamelessly admit that I had to use a tutorial to find him. The first attempt went well until I got flattened like a pancake. So I changed up my strategy a little bit, and I wanted to see what would happen if I just spammed the ever-loving hell out of my Cragbolt bubbles. This is what happens when you spam the hell out of the Cragbolt bubbles. I knew the stagger potential was pretty high, but I didn't think it would have been that easy to obliterate a boss's health bar like that. The end result, we get another spell rune, and I get a chance to test out the Dragon Halberd. That's cool. I unlocked a new batch of spells, and I realized, hey, Holy shit, I can actually use these. What you'll find throughout a Convergence playthrough is that you'll unlock spells outside of the typical magic projectile thing that does damage that we see all throughout the vanilla game. There are some pretty cool defensive spells that the mod team came up with. I spent some time at the Gatefront ruins testing out my newly acquired spells so I could gauge which ones would be the most useful. Armor of Bubbles was definitely on the list, and I didn't know it then, but Cragbolt Mine would turn out to be one of the most valuable spells out of this entire run. At this site of Grayson's Stormhill, I beat an Erdtree avatar and I unlocked a teleporter as well as the opportunity to craft my first physic tiers. And then I set off on a crusade against all of the different Erdtree avatars and the Erdtree Sentinels. And yes, you can literally teleport directly to all of these locations at any point in the game as long as you have beaten the boss in front of the portal. After I beat the first of many bosses in this mini boss rush, I was finally able to upgrade my strength enough to be able to properly wield the Dragon Halberd. Oh yeah, I could tell I was gonna have some fun with this. I continued on my warpath against the tree huggers and I unlocked access to a variety of different areas and I leveled up a lot in the process. +1, +2, and then +1, +2. Because my thing is, I don't know when along the line I'll get a better staff, so I don't want to upgrade this one too far yet, but I feel like by then I'll find like the bell bearings and stuff anyway, so fuck it, I'll upgrade it as much as I can for now. No way, I'm about to get killed before I even get there. This is so sad. You want some of this, huh? You want some of this shit? I don't think you're ready. I forget exactly what's up with Margit, but I want to say like he has more health, does more damage, and like one of his or some of his attack timings are a little bit different, and I think I just fucked myself up. Ooh, I'm alive. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, what are you gonna do now, bud? Eh? Oh yeah, that's big damage. Oh my god! Oh fuck, I'm fucking up. Dude, Cragbolt Mine is cracked. Oh Lord Jesus, I'm gonna die. If I just bait him into here, dude, he's gonna get cooked. What the fuck was that? I've never seen that before. Cragbolt Bubbles. Later, buddy. Alright. Kind of sloppy, but it did the job. Oh, yeah. Now, Faint Relic Remnant. I forget what these do. Yes. Yes, yes, there we go. Okay. So these are all, like, your specific build, I guess. So obviously, we're going to take the Dragonkin crest, boost that lightning damage. So we're looking pretty good so far. We're looking aight. Yeah, fuck it. I think I'll just do Godric next then. Now, Godric was a lot tougher than normal, and part of it was because of the tweaks that the mod team made. The other part of it was that most of my runs in New Game Plus have always had some kind of ranged option, so I don't really know his moveset very well. I'll leave a link to one of my past runs in the description below so you can see what I'm talking about. When I got Godric down to his second phase, I was in a pretty good position all things considered. I had a bunch of flasks, Godric was frostbitten, and I was having a grand old time playing with my bubbles. Downside was that I kept forgetting about the dodge button and its benefits. And at some point, I got hit with a pretty BS combo in my opinion, but it is what it is. No matter! I shall keep coming back no matter how many times I am badly beaten. Eventually, I did in fact conquer Godric, and no, I did not forget to press the record button. Shut up. Now, if you're wondering what this first keystone of the Forge is for, I'll explain that later in the video when I get to the mountaintops of the Giants. But for now, look at this picture of an armadillo girdle lizard and let me know in the comments if I should get it tattooed on my body. Next, I decided to make my way down to Noxtella so I could take on the second Dragonkin soldier on my hit list. When I eventually found his little hideout, there wasn't really much work that needed to be done on my part. I just kind of sat back and launched a couple dozen electrified bubbles towards him, and he went down faster than your mother! Yeah, the joke was terrible, and I promise you, it doesn't really get much better. And when I unlocked my next group of spells, I was like, oh snap, these look pretty cool. And then, yet again, I was disappointed when I found out that I couldn't use these yet either. Next, I went down to the Lake of Rot, and my first reaction was, what the hell is all that? I mean, there's only one way to find out, I guess. And boy, did I find out. Turns out the Lake of Rot Dragonkin soldier is inside of a coliseum, and I had to find out how the heck I was supposed to get in there. Not only that, I had to balance that with a variety of assassination attempts towards me. Yeah, I have no idea how the hell I'm gonna get there, but I'll figure it out. Through the Scarlet Rot and the Death Blight and all this fucking bullshit, I will prevail. Now, it would just be nice if, you know, there was, you know, like a fucking site of grace or something around here. Oh, never mind. Yep. The Lake of Rot was a little too much of a challenge for me at that point, so I made my way over to General Radahn, as he's one of those bosses that drops the second keystone of the Forge. Again, I'll talk about those later. But for now, I'll introduce you to one of the newly added bosses. Dirt bike drivers in Philadelphia. Anyway, Dak, Starcrawler Lord, is a pretty cool guy. He enjoys long walks on the beach, has a passion for carpentry, and apparently he knows where the clitoris is. Nah, I'm just kidding, I made that last part up. Nobody knows where the hell that thing is. I came pretty close to choking, but in the end, I did just enough to finish off Dak, which, oddly enough, is actually how you gain access to the Radahn Festival. The festival was nigh and the battle was electric. This is a good opportunity to talk about my strategy for basically every boss fight from now until the end of the game. I lead off with the Underworld Bubble Shield, which is essentially just the opening bubble tier with the added boost of building up Frostbite once it explodes. After that, I laid down a ton of Cragbolt mines, which are basically like a snare trap. When an enemy walks into one, it triggers an AoE and you can stack them for deadly effect. The deadly effect being that sometimes my game would just start lagging because it couldn't handle all the particle effects. I'm waxing lyrical about my spells, and there's a good reason for that. But don't let me forget about the Dragon Halberd. This thing was a proper weapon for the time that I was using it, and in the future, I would even consider using it for an entire playthrough. It's definitely good enough for that. Funnily enough, I just let Radahn accidentally off himself by wandering into a Cragbolt mine. It happens to the best of us. Ah, damn, I always forget of things to wish for, man. Alright, okay, how about boobs? I'm not wishing to have them on my body, just to have them, like, in my face. Is that too much for a man to ask for nowadays? After beating Radahn, I took one of the teleporters to the Consecrated Snowfield and completed the Ordina puzzle. Yes, you can come to the Consecrated Snowfield this early. And it finally allowed me to get my hands on some better armor, the Blue-Silver set. At this point, I had 40 in intelligence, but with the combined boost from each piece of the armor set, my int went all the way up to 50, and that's only one of the benefits that I got from my new armor. Before we go any further, I went back to the Fringe Folk Heroes grade because I realized I had no idea that I actually passed over a weapon that I was meant to use. The Underworld Great Mace is one of the newly added weapons in Convergence, and of course I was intrigued right away by it when I saw that at +0, its damage wasn't really too far away from my +6 Dragon Halberd. Oh, baby. Oh my god, I gotta get this thing upgraded immediately. Holy shit. So I did just that. I got my staff and my newly acquired Great Mace up to +8, and I decided that now is a good time to go back to the Lake of Rot and obtain my final Dragonkin spell rune. Alright, well, I'm back in the Lake of Rot, and it looks like this is it. We're going to be fighting the Dragonkin soldier down here finally, and honestly, all that I had to do was just go the opposite way of the way I was going before when I was struggling. Honestly, I'm not surprised that the answer to my problem was that simple. I tend to overcomplicate things, but I mean, hopefully this fight isn't too complicated. I just don't see, like, anywhere to stand on in this arena. I don't know if it's basically just, like, I have to accept the fact that I'm gonna get Scarlet Rot when I go down there. 'Cause there is, like, I mean, it's obvious. There's nowhere to stand whatsoever. I mean, unless I have to go down there, trigger the fight, and then somehow, like, run all the way over here and turn the platforms on, which I'm assuming that is. I mean, like, these like, later spells are already cracked as it is. I can only imagine what, like, the final set of spells is going to be like. Like, holy god damn almighty. You know, actually, come to think of it, I wonder, can I hit him with the Dragonkin minefield from over here? I can, just barely. Alright. That changes things a lot. I might be able to just camp out right here and get him. Cragbolt Torrent. Can I hit him from here? A little bit, okay. That's more than a little bit, oh my lord almighty. Alright, now all I need him to do, honestly, is just come forward a little bit. And then just, oh my god, it's beautiful. Come on, you know you want to. Oh my god, that was easy as shit. Oh, the Dragon Scale Blade, I forgot about that. Oh, snap. I don't know, I mean, I just upgraded the Underworld Mace, so I definitely want to use this for a little while, because, I mean, I really like the Ash of War. I mean, the hyper armor on this thing is insane, and the poise damage that it does is just out of this world. I mean, it does scale off of Dex and Intelligence, but the thing is, this has S scaling in Intelligence, man. I feel like this is just the better weapon. I feel like it's just meant to be, you know? Let's pop the final rune to learn our Mastery level Dragonkin sorceries. Alright, what do we got here? Strength of the Underworld and Wisdom of the Makers. Legendary enchantment. While active, increases all weapon damage by 10%, reduces weapon stamina consumption by 20%, and increases all absorption by 20%. Reduces total FP by 80%, and reduces all spell damage by 50%. Wisdom of the Makers. While active, increases total FP by 20%, adds additional FP regeneration of 2 per second, and increases spell damage by 10%. Reduces total stamina and total HP by half, and decreases all weapon damage by 50%. Okay. The game said, okay, play melee or play with spells. After I collected my final spell rune, it was time for me to decide which boss I would fight next. To get the third keystone of the Forge, there are a few bosses you can take on, and I decided to take on Moog. Now, the funny thing about this fight is that I recorded a bunch of attempts that weren't successful, but I forgot to record the winning attempt. Welcome to the Flock of Turtles channel, where you only actually get to watch half of the boss fights that I do. Yeah, I also just realized that I wasn't recording for that fight, but essentially what happened was, underwater bubble shield, spam the hell out of Dragonkin minefield, spam the hell out of Great Bubble Volley. I was just hoping for stance breaks the whole time, and then what I did, put on the dagger talisman, so critical hits were doing a shitload of damage, and honestly, I don't even know if I got a single melee attack in for that entire fight. I was just spamming my spells, man, but... Oh, never mind. The fourth keystone boss is Morgott, and then the fifth keystone is Malekith. That's simple enough. Morgott should be pretty... should be very easy compared to Moog, so... I ventured into the royal capital, and I still stand by the fact that the Draconic Tree Sentinel is not worthy of being in my video. Now up next is one of the new fights, Sigurd, Knight's Captain. He's essentially just a cracked out Grave Warden duelist with one of those flail mace combo things. It didn't really take long for me to get rid of him because I was able to get Frostbite onto him early on into the fight, and I graciously allowed him to get a couple hits on me because I didn't want him to feel left out, but eventually I just put him out of his misery. I didn't feel like acting like a Make-A-Wish granter. Alright, what do we got? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, boys. You know, things have been going alright so far. Yeah, I died like a shitload of times to Moog, but this is different. You know, Moog, he's technically like almost an endgame boss. I'm chilling right now. Go ahead, jump. No? Oh, come on. There you go. Give me that. Oh, boy, that's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. Oh, man, I fucked up. Alright, I'm doing stupid amounts of damage to him, so let me just take that into consideration. That should be a hell of a lot easier now since he's going to be starting further back. Do I have time to cast the minefield straight away? Oh yeah, he's so far back. Oh, here he comes. I can barely see him. Oh. Stance break, maybe? Motherfucker. Oh, come on, give me a jump, maybe? No? There's so much happening, my game is lagging. Oh my god, the Cragbolt mines are just ungodly. Holy Lord almighty. Yeah, what do you gotta say now, dude, huh? Nothing. Next up on the agenda is the Fire Giant, mainly because I relapsed from my addiction to feet, and I needed a pretty powerful pick-me-up to distract myself from the very foot addiction that brought me to this place to begin with. It didn't take me very long to get the Fire Giant down to his second phase, because by this point in the game, I understood the assignment with the Underworld Great Mace. I don't recall many weapons in vanilla that have elemental damage with such high stance breaking potential. Still, that doesn't mean that this fight was a cakewalk. I could have died on numerous occasions. But man is only at his strongest and his most brave in the eyes of death, even if he was only put in those situations due to his own lack of timing when it comes to hitting the B button on an Xbox controller. Why is the end of every Fire Giant fight so friggin' stressful? God! Come on. Come to Papa. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, for a second there, I thought I was gonna choke. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. Alright, now, the thing is with Convergence, if you haven't really been too in tune with what's happening in the mod so far, right now, I can't go to Farum Azula. The final keystone boss that I have to beat is actually Malekith, so I have to go to Farum Azula first. There are 2 ways to get to Farum Azula, as far as I understand. Okay, yeah, one is a portal behind the Bestial Sanctum, and then the other one is via the portals at the 4 Belfries. Alright, well, looks like Farum Azula is next, guys. Normally at this point is the Godskin duo fight, but this is another boss battle replacement. This was my winning attempt after about 10 or so tries, and I was locked in. Enjoy the fight, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, now one thing I have to realize, I have to stop being impatient and just realize that my attack windows with the Great Mace are going to be very, very limited. I can't see a fucking thing. There we go, give me that. That's what I'm looking for. Ash of War. Dude, my game is lagging so much. Oh my god. No, wrong one! Oh, I'm dead. You know what? No, fuck that. I gotta believe in myself. Here, hold this spear. Oh, I didn't know he could follow that up. Oh, boy. Let's go. Give me that. Oh, my God. I was concentrating more than I ever have in my life right there. Oh, boy. Okay. On to Malekith, then. That was a hell of a fight, but... Alright, let's see if I can dispel my demons against Malekith, because I usually have a hard time with him. Well, boys, I did not, in fact, dispel my demons against Malekith. If anything, each fight against him continues to show me how slow of a learner I am, because I just can't grasp how to deal with the Beast Clergyman phase a year and a half after the game's release. With that being said, I'm definitely more comfortable dealing with Malekith's second phase, and I'll leave that on full display right now. And you know what else? I'm tired of talking for the time being, and I want to give my voice a break. Plus, I like hearing Malekith's soundtrack. I'll just let you enjoy all of the rest of the fight without having to listen to my voice scraping at your eardrums. Enjoy. Now that is what I'm talking about. Oh my god. Just got that stagger in just when I needed it. That is what I'm talking about. Oh, baby. Whew. Alright. Alright, 35 vigor. That should be... I think that should be alright. I don't know, man. Like, the more I play this mod, the more I feel like it's gonna take a while for me to want to go back to playing vanilla. This just takes it to a whole new level, and like every single one of the starting classes has its own little thing going on, and there's just so many different ways to play through this game. Alright, Melina, time for you to go bye-bye. Now, next up is Gideon, right? Sorta, kinda. There's a little bit of a change to the Gideon boss fight, if you're not aware. It's still about the same, you know, it's the same end result, but it's still like a little bit different. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. I'll just let you guys see it when we get there. In my opinion, the single best addition to this entire mod is the fact that Gideon gets absolutely ragdolled and replaced with a boss that actually makes use out of the Crucible incantations. Scarred, Crucible's Betrayer, has a very unique moveset and in my opinion is the perfect combo of difficult and readable. He's a blend of a Crucible Knight with some bestial incantations, and he encapsulates everything you would expect from one of Godfrey's understudies. With that being said, he's still got an IQ of about -38, so when he sees me slinging my Cragbolt mines, he just walks right into them. In fact, the Cragbolt mines were so useful that I didn't really have to do much else to damage him for the last quarter or so of his health bar. You know what would be pretty sick? If I one-attempted Godfrey. I don't think I've ever done that. You know something else I've never done? I've never made it in the final hole of a game of minigolf. I swear, out of all the times I've went, not once I've ever gotten that sucker even remotely close to getting into that hole. Now, if that sentence gets taken out of context, I'm going to be in big trouble, but that's a risk that I'm willing to take. Most of my damage in Phase 1 was just aggregate chip damage from a bunch of Cragbolt mines. I didn't really know what my punish windows would be like if I tried to focus more on melee combat with my Great Mace, so I just played the safer option. That's even how I got Godfrey down to his second phase. The opening attack dodge was successful, but every now and again, I'm prone to the occasional fuck-up of seismic proportions. I got tired of making safe plays, and truth be told, I feel like I was lucky to dodge that attack after my Ash of War. I even triggered Frostbite, but almost at the cost of my own life. In the end, I was able to stay focused long enough to lean heavily on that crutch that I've been leaning on since I got the ability to use it. When you know that you're fighting an aggressive enemy that moves in predictable patterns, it's only a matter of time before they'll just off themselves by walking into your Cragbolt mines. Easily the best spell that I used in this whole run. The final fight took me a few tries, and that was due to the fact that I always have to shake off some rust in the Radagon fight. I almost died again here because I was just trying a bunch of stupid shit that was not helping in any way whatsoever. But two things that definitely helped are triggering Frostbite and getting a stagger. I have no idea if Radagon is actually susceptible to Frostbite in the base game, and if not, it's a welcome change to the fight in my opinion. The other thing I wish I'd see is me being able to actually dodge Radagon's 3 hammer blows for once. One of the good things about this fight is that I actually got to use different spells for once and not just Cragbolt mines. After defeating Radagon, I displayed lightning fast finger technique to buff myself. Your mother would be very impressed. The opening 30 seconds of Elden Beast couldn't have gone any better. It feels nice to perform well even if it is only for 30 seconds. Not speaking from experience or anything, I'm just saying that, you know, like sometimes you just... I want to say that there were a few changes made to the Elden Beast fight, but I only really noticed one of them. The Elden Stars attack functions more like Founding Rain of Stars, but the particles move so slowly that if you actually manage to get hit by one of them, you might be mentally deficient in some capacity. Regardless, I was doing big amounts of damage right here at this point in the fight. My Underworld Bubble Shield saved my ass from being cooked right here, so I want to give a special shout out to all my bubble blown double babies out there. Y'all are the real ones. I even got an opportunity to use Frozen Lightning Storm, but that didn't really do shit besides drop my frame rate a little bit. The fight almost ended abruptly with the end of my life, but I was able to channel my inner girl boss and take the Elden Beast slam like a champ. In the end, I feel as though I was justified in taking the Underworld Great Mace with me all the way to the end, because that is what delivered the final blow to the Elden Beast and granted me Elden Lord. Well, ladies and gentlemen, actually probably only gentlemen considering this is an Elden Ring video, that's the end of the run, and my first run in the Convergence Mod is now complete. I've mentioned it a few times, but I'll definitely be playing the shit out of this mod, so if you want to see more of that, feel free to swing by the channel again in the future. I'm even considering streaming some future playthroughs, so if you're down for seeing something like that, again, just let me know in the comments. That's all for me for today. I've been Flock of Turtles, you've been amazing, thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a good day.